Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so we got about 35 minutes or so before the beginning of the Laker game. Tips off between the Lakers and the Rockets. And as we've already made content about those games, I want to encourage everybody to go check out those videos already. But this is the thing. I'm trying to figure out if the Lakers are going to make the playoffs, assuming we are able to do what we need to do over the next several games to secure ourselves a chance. I'm trying to figure out who would I'd rather see. Now, obviously, you guys know my dream matchup in the first round actually is the Nuggets in the first seed, but I don't think we're going to be in the 8th seed. We want to get out of the play-in tournament entirely. But there are some things that we could talk about just as hypotheticals, just in case things may shake around. I think the Sacramento Kings, I believe, are like 4 games out of first place. It's a tall task. A lot of losing, a lot of winning has to happen in order for them to get out of that spot. Losing by the Denver Nuggets, that is, winning by them. But the problem is Denver's resting guys. Denver is kind of preparing themselves to kind of get out of this thing healthy. And my understanding is there may be some interest within that organization to kind of get out of that one range, if at all possible. It don't seem possible, but to me it seems like they would rather not play anybody in that play-in tournament than Denver Nuggets, as they probably see it the same way we do. The matchups just don't look that great in the first round. For them to have had such a heck of a season, the last thing they want to do is run into a team that they just can't necessarily match up with properly. So that's something that the people in Denver may be considering right now. But nevertheless, I'm looking at them. I'm looking at Memphis. Memphis, I believe, is like 2 games out of that first spot, which seems obtainable. But they're also 2 games out of falling to 3rd place, which means the Kings can get to 2nd place as well. So it's a lot of stuff that could shake up. And I'm looking at the situation. I'm saying, if I'm as the Lakers, I am trying to not overthink this. Phoenix is sitting there at 4. Golden State, I believe, is at 5. Clippers are at 6 right now. 7th is obviously the New Orleans Pelicans, and we're at 8 as we speak. With, I believe, the Thunder and somebody else behind us. I don't remember who that is behind us. I know it ain't Dallas. They've fallen further down. It ain't Utah. So it's one of them teams. But that's how it's looking right now. As a whole, we're looking at that particular type of thing. So, do I want to play the Phoenix Suns, the Sacramento Kings, the Memphis Grizzlies? Which one of these teams, I'm asking myself, would I rather see in the first round? Now, you guys know I don't particularly think that the Lakers match up that great with the Sacramento Kings. I think a lot of people love the Sacramento Kings matchup just because they look at the Kings. The team doesn't have a lot of experience. They look at the Kings as the Kings. So, even though they played some really good ball this year, they still got to shake off that reputation for being a team that doesn't do anything ever. But you got to know when it's day one for a winning situation. That's the thing. I've been watching basketball for a long time. So I remember the first day the Cavs were good. The first day the Golden State Warriors were good. The first day the Clippers were good. Like, these things, they come about, man. The Milwaukee Bucks became real. The Toronto Raptors turned the corner and won a championship. Like, these type of things, you just got to know that the NBA keeps on shifting. I remember when I first started watching, the Dallas Mavericks were a nobody team. They didn't have nothing going on, man. They drafted, pretty well with Jason Kidd during that era. Had Jackson, JJ, had all kinds of stuff going on, but it wasn't a good franchise. They weren't known for doing anything, and now they've won 2 championships since I've been watching. So it's like, or they've been to 2 finals. 2 finals, 1 championship. But nevertheless, the point is they became a championship caliber franchise at some point, and we had to start getting our minds, adjusted to them not being bad anymore. So that's what it is for the Sacramento Kings. I don't know if they're going to have a long, sustainable tenure with this unit or not. Who knows? But what I do know is they've picked up good enough talent. Guys like Keegan Murray, De'Aaron Fox, Sabonis, they're going to change the culture of that team. They're not going to be the same team now that they've drafted so well and got piled up some talent. And, with the information that came out today on the collective bargaining agreement, adding the ability to have a 3rd Supermax player on your team. I don't know the provisions or if it has to be a player you drafted. I don't know how that works, but from what I understand, you can go from 2 to 3 now. And if that's the case, you could see opportunities for teams like Sacramento, teams like Cleveland, Houston, all these different teams that have a lot of young players who may turn out to be super duper stars. They'll be able to keep 3 of them instead of having to be forced to watch them leave just because they're so good. So I love that for the NBA because it shows that they're adjusting to what's reality, which is teams are being put together as super teams organically. Nobody's doing anything wrong other than the teams who keep foregoing their picks, throwing them out into the wild, and letting them land in places like Houston and Orlando and stuff like that. And why should Houston and Orlando be punished for that? Because they made deals that allowed them to get rich. Now they develop the players into the level they're supposed to go, and they're supposed to let them go just because of something in the provision? No, that's not right. Some of these teams are organically built, and we should see what they turn out to be. Houston Rockets, I want to see what they're going to turn out to be. They shouldn't have to lose Green just because they got to pay Sengun. Hell no. They're all together now. So I think that's really what it comes down to. For a team like the Kings, you could totally see where things are starting to change to where they can keep some of these players they got, continue to add more to it, and just keep their idea of being a deep team. So that's my thing. As we circle back, I say the Kings are a team I really don't necessarily love in the first round for anybody or the playoffs for anybody. And it's because of the same thing I've been telling everybody about the whole year. They use more players than everybody else, in my humble opinion. They got more players on their team that they use up and down their roster than anybody else. And because of it, they're more likely to sustain injury and stay fresher. So you're going to see a healthier De'Aaron Fox, a healthier Sabonis, a healthier Keegan, healthier Barnes, because they're going to keep these guys healthy all season long by having that bench be strong and keeping interchangeable pieces in there. Their bench players obviously stay healthier for that reason. And so that's what I like about what the Kings and Mike Brown are doing up there. And because of it, it's probably going to translate to them being healthier in the playoffs. It's probably going to translate to them being able to throw a lot of different attacks at you in the playoffs. And when I look at a piece like Malik Monk, I look at a piece like Kevin Huerter, I just understand Keegan Murray. These are three-point shooters that can launch all night long responsibly, meaning that they're function to shoot. And you're not going to be looking at it saying, oh, these are bad percentage looks based on what it is that their strengths are. So it's like you got that, and you got Sabonis in there who's just dominating in the paint, constantly slashing. And then you got the defensive players that they got like Mitchell and Fox on the backcourt, and guys that can defend, again, Keegan and Barnes. And then you got Chezi Metu and these various guys off their bench who also can defend and shoot and do all kinds of different stuff. Davis, a guy who's further down the bench but always pops up and plays well. So these type of things are like, all right, do I really want to see the Sacramento Kings when I know they got 22 players in rotation? Like, honestly, in a playoff situation where I know teams are shrinking their bench, you're going to go up against them. It's like it's not even about anything other than the fact that they are going to be fresh, and you know it. So that's what it really comes down to. Do I want to see Sacramento? Nah, because I know what they're actually doing. Now, Phoenix, on the other hand, is like, all right, this is where it becomes a problem, because it's like, for all I know about the Sacramento Kings, I look at Phoenix and I say, I'm still not sure I would actually rather play the Kings than Phoenix than hit Sacramento, because at the end of the day, Phoenix got Booker and KD, and while I don't know they'd be able to keep them healthy because they don't have anywhere near that type of depth behind them, it probably makes more sense to want to play Phoenix based on that understanding. At the end of the day, you're playing 48-minute basketball games, and you're going to be in a torture chamber with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, and that's something that no team should actually want. You should never want that. However, given the fact that KD's fresh off injury, given the fact these guys ain't never played together, given the fact they do have a shallow bench to a degree, given the fact that a lot of this stuff comes together last minute for them and they have such high expectations, you can just see where it's a lot of pressure on them to do it, and et cetera, might play into your favor. You'll probably be a much more loose basketball team against them if you're a deep basketball team like us. So I actually think Phoenix isn't the worst matchup, but I don't want to play around with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker in the first round. That doesn't seem like a smart decision for anybody to try to position themselves to face them. However, which of those two things do I hold the most true? That Sacramento is going to stay healthy and fresh with 1 million players, or that the Phoenix Suns with their top heaviness could ultimately sweep you? Either way, you don't want either one of those teams if you're the Lakers, if you ask me. You really don't want to play either one of them dudes. Memphis is a team where we've had some success against the Memphis Grizzlies. We know they're a bit hobbled without Brandon Clark, given the fact that pogo stick is not going to be out there offensive rebounding and tearing into people. But they have a very deep bench like Sacramento. The rookie of the year of the G League is Kenny Lofton Jr., who's a guy who often is in their rotation. He played for them in their last game. So that'll let you know that they're doing things the right way, as well as Sacramento. Bringing up all kinds of dudes, and they've drafted so well over the last 5 years to where you can see where Memphis is a real contender. Now, of course, they had this situation with John Morant and all that, and he's back now. So you got to deal with them. Desmond Bane was out for half of the season. He's back now. You got to deal with him. He's 100% healthy. And they've added Luke Kennard, who can shoot all day long. Once again, just like we said about Sacramento with those shooters, Monk and Herder. They got that with Bane and Kennard. You can shoot all game. Both of those guys can go for 8 threes in the same night, and you got shot down. So it's like when they have that, and then Jaren Jackson in the paint, Steven Adams may be coming back for the playoffs, although I haven't heard anything about that. Xavier Tillman, who's played better basketball in the paint. You know, you can see where they can create some problems for you, of course, in just about every position. If you're the Lakers, especially with a guy like Jaren Jackson being thrown in Anthony Davis, that's going to be a headache for 7 games. So that's why I don't want to see Memphis. I'm cool on Memphis because I think Memphis is probably a little better than Sacramento, and I think they're a deeper team than Phoenix. So it's like, you pick your poison, man. You don't. This is one of those things where it's like, none of those teams want to play us, but I'm not sure we're actually licking our chops to pay them either. I don't know that we're an overrated basketball team, but I know that this is a rookie coach, and we've had a lot of problems with rotations. We've had a lot of problems with things like that that will hurt you in the playoffs if not done correctly. And so that's really what it comes down to. Do I actually love us in the playoffs in the first round? I've been on record saying I think we're going in the first round, and it's going to be because of my lack of faith in that area. I just don't know if we can get it right when we start thinking about who's going to be on the floor and when. Can we hit our free throws, things like that? I'm pessimistic, man. I have my concerns, and I'm trying to stay realistic within that pessimism so that I don't start drinking the Kool-Aid. I respect that we have a hell of a roster. I don't doubt that, and we do also have a schematic disadvantage without Mo Bamba having no center down there in sight, basically no real center. So that for me caps off our potential. If we can get Bamba back healthy, or if this team would just bite the bullet and get a $1 million center in here, I would feel so much better about us as it pertains to going up against full teams in the playoffs. But right now, we're playing without something we actually need, and we're hoping to get by, and that's not enough. So that's what I know. If we can get Bamba back, I'll feel a lot better about that. But he's still out, and he don't look like he come back anytime soon. So that's a real thing. So that's what I'm looking at, man. Who is the team that's probably going to throw you the least amount of size? That is the question, and the answer is the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix Suns is going to throw you the least amount of size. Jaren Jackson, them dudes, you got just a handful. Adams come back, you don't want to deal with him for no time. Sacramento, Sabonis, and all the centers that they got. They're like 8 centers back there, like Lynn, like I said, Kada, Holmes. It goes on forever. They're gonna rebound over you. I'm telling you, everybody hear me good. That Laker versus Kings matchup is not a good matchup for the Lakers. It ain't. It's not. They've been a better team all year, and they got a lot more size than us. And De'Aaron Fox is a very clutch basketball player that we have not been able to guard all season. We ain't been able to guard him all season. So that is the reality of that particular matchup. We would love to not play them if we know what we're doing. Because not only are they the Kings of this era, but they also still pissed at us for something that happened 20 years ago. So their fan base and their energy and their overall intent to beating us is going to be a little extra, and it's going to mean a lot more to them because they see us as a real rival, even though we don't think nothing of them, ain't thought nothing of them in 20 years. But nevertheless, that's the reality of it. I'm not running from that smoke, just like we didn't run from the cowbell days. We ain't running from none of that. But what I'm saying is, if you can avoid it, it's probably to your betterment. It's the truth. So, yeah, man. I don't think I've come to any real conclusion. No, I don't think I want to play any of those damn teams. And the Clippers, we ain't beaten 4 years. So why would I want to position myself to actually see a team that we haven't beaten? So that's really what it comes down to. No good matchups, man. We just need to get in the play. We need to get out of the play-in tournament and face whoever matchup we see, because at the end of the day, there are no good matchups. Every team in this Western Conference can basically get to the Western Conference Finals. All of them. Even OKC, especially if Chet comes back. So that's my thing. It's like Denver's the team I am afraid of almost the least, to be honest with you. I look at Denver, I'm saying, y'all soft in the middle. Y'all just a better version of Dallas. Soft in the middle. Drive. That's all we do anyway. Going straight at Jokic. If he can stay out of foul trouble, cool. But we want to see Thomas Bryant. So that's one of the type of things. It's like, Denver ain't real, bro. They're going to get knocked out of here. I'm telling y'all, Denver ain't real. I like Jamal Murray, though. Jamal Murray can change a lot of things. He goes for 50 and hits a buzzer shot a couple times. That kind of thing can really help you. But I don't trust their health. Him, Porter's health, nah. And then some of that bench is not. Denver, nah. They're not that. I don't even know how they got this good. I don't know. I mean, Jokic is just amazing apparently. But to me, that team ain't that good. I like Gordon defensively. He's been playing well. Gordon has had a real serious season. That's a big part of why they're as good as they are is him. He's really helped a lot. But I don't fear them, dude. I fear Sacramento more, Memphis more, Phoenix more, all those teams. I fear them more than I fear the number one squad in the West. And I think most people do. I think they know it, and I think they fear most of us down here. So that's just the environment. This ain't just my opinion. I think that's what it is. That's what it tells you on paper as well. So that's what I think, man. The Lakers are lucky enough to get out of this play-in tournament and see the 6th seed. We'll be happy to face whoever's in front of us, and I'm pretty sure they won't be happy to see us, and that is something we can take to the bank. So with that being said, this game is going to be starting very soon. We got 25 minutes. I'm trying to stall. But, yeah, this will give me enough time to listen to this, and then the game should be starting 15 minutes after that. So I think I'll give you enough content for now. Just to come to a conclusion, to come to a real conclusion, I legitimately think I've come to the conclusion that the Phoenix Suns are probably the best matchup for the Lakers in the first round. I know that's absolutely insane, but it's true. Because when I look at Ayton, I'm like, all right, if I get past you, I'm looking at Londale, I'm looking at Biyombo for Anthony Davis. I like that a lot better than I like all of them centers that Sacramento can throw at me, all 600 of them. And then Jaren Jackson, and if Steven comes back, that's a problem. And those guys are a little better to me than Phoenix's bigs. And I look at KD, I'm like, all right, KD's going to get 60 points if he wants to. That's cool. But I got Anthony Davis to give me some help with that. All right, I'm looking at Devin Booker. Devin Booker's a monster. He's going to go for 50 points. I got LeBron James that can help me with that, and D'Angelo Russell can help me with that. So I'm looking at their bench. I'm like, all right, Wainwright, you ain't got a chance of beating anybody on my bench, bro. You're not good enough. Straight up. I'm going to be mean about it because I'm trying to be concise at how I look at these teams. Terrence Ross, nice shooter. He ain't stopping a soul. We running straight past him. What is going to happen is Dennis Schroeder and Austin Reeves, all these guys, Hachimura, they're going to score on that bench repeatedly. They're going to score on that bench repeatedly, which means they're going to have to keep Devin Booker and KD and big center Ayton on the floor pretty much the whole damn game. Chris Paul, he's not defending nobody. That's a good matchup for D'Lo and Schroeder. We're driving at him. He's gonna create problems because he's Chris Paul. But at the end of the day, he's an old Chris Paul, and they probably would rather him not be hunted defensively on the defensive end. Rather, that's exactly what we're gonna do. Now hunt the hell out of him. Send Schroeder at him, see D'Lo at him, try to see if he can make any stops happen for himself. Cam Payne, highly inconsistent, but can play well and has been playing well. Josh Okogie's a player I look at that kind of concerns me. He's a guy in a playoff series that can really make the difference for Phoenix, make up for a lot of what their bench is not on paper technically going to do. I know that, so I'm looking at him as a serious piece. That's like, ding, I look at him as a real golden star on that bench. And then I look at the upside of a guy like Landale, I forget how to say his name, but he's a real deal. He's a real good bench, young center. That's going to probably do some good things for them. But does he scare me against AD, against Vanderbilt and these guys? Nah, he's about as good as Wenyen. He ain't better. He ain't as, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I look at that Phoenix bench, I say, if I can get past KD and I can get past Devin Booker, I'm good. Because they got to get past a lot more than that when they looking at us. They got to get past a lot more than just AD and Bron. You see what I'm saying? They got to deal with D'Lo, Schroeder, Austin, Hachimura, all these different dudes are going to be thrown at them. Phoenix is not ready to guard all of whom we have. They're not. They're not ready to guard all of whom we have. And so that's what it really comes down to. Do they have the ability to attack us and destroy us? Of course. With those players, yes, they can. But the fullness of a 7-game series means that you're going to have to stay in each and every game. 1 or 2 games ain't enough. You got to beat us 4 times. And when I look at that depth, I'm like, is KD going to play all them games? Is he going to be healthy enough? He going to roll an ankle. Is Booker going to play all them games? Is he going to turn the ball over when you put pressure on him? We saw him get pressured real bad last year. Now, KD wasn't on the floor. That's a big difference. It's going to create a lot of opportunities for him to score more. But at the end of the day, my turn, your turn, my turn, your turn, and Chris Paul's giving them both the ball. Yeah, it's a nice situation. But do I like it more than what it is they're going to have to deal with on the defensive end when I know they can't get stops? Hell no. LeBron James driving at the rim constantly? Anthony Davis trying to score over Ayton, which shouldn't be that hard because Ayton is a nice defensive player, but he ain't great defensive player. So what is it that they're going to try to do? You know what I mean? What is their answer for Anthony? I don't think they have one. And you may say, well, what is their answer for KD? I don't have one. But that doesn't mean I can't cancel him out with some of the production of my other players. Especially if he's not 100% healthy. Especially if he doesn't have adequate backups, which he does not. So any one of them games he get in foul trouble, we're attacking. We're going to bite. You know what I'm saying? And Devin Booker, I like him as a defensive player to a degree, but he's going to have his hands full trying to guard all these little talented guards that we got. Schroeder, D'Lo, Austin. That's a lot. That's a lot to deal with. Those are 3 star level players that you got to deal with that are not named LeBron James and Anthony Davis. You got to deal with those guys. And they're constantly be coming at you. They're constantly going to be scoring, constantly going to be doing all kinds of stuff. And that's not taking into account the other things that the Lakers have. Including Vanderbilt, who's going to be breaking up plays for you left and right in the offensive end, making things hard for a guy like KD, who does not want to be playing with a guy like Vanderbilt down there. He don't want to have to do 50-50 ball stuff, and he's going to be forced to, which is why we circle back to Josh Okogie and how important he's going to be. How do they find ways of keeping him on the floor? Can he hit his jump shot when they do? These are things that Josh is going to have to answer. And so I look at that team and I say, I don't want to underrate the importance of a massive core or great core just because everybody else tends to overrate a great core and not giving enough attention to the bench. I don't want to overbalance it the other way, but I think that's the way I'm looking at it. I just don't see enough behind Phoenix versus those other teams that really make me say Phoenix is going to be able to knock teams off in the playoffs. Now, 1 game, 2 game regular season stuff for sure. Next year when they strengthen that bench a little better for sure. But right now, they don't have enough on that bench to actually really do anything in the playoffs. They're going to be leaning on Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, and that's a health risk. Period. So that's what I know. Now, whether or not that translates to them losing games, Kevin Durant, Devin Booker might be able to overcome that. They may. Every single night, you just may see them be able to overcome that. But that's just 2 bodies, man. That's just 2 human beings. And they can't afford for either of them to go down, and those guys are known for going down. So for me, I want to see Phoenix. I want to see Phoenix. I want to see Denver. Because those are the 2 teams I think are the best matchup for my teams based on what it is I've surmised. Because all them other teams, even though people don't think they're that good, they're young, they're deep, and they're physical. I don't want to have no parts of that. I want to get away from that type of stuff and kind of lean into stuff that's a little less than that. And that is exactly what Denver and Phoenix are to me right now. Some other teams physical, man. You got Jaren Jackson and Domantas Sabonis. You're gonna get black eyes and elbows in the side and all that. We don't. No. Avoid Memphis. Avoid Sac, if at all possible. Problem is, that's exactly what we're probably going to see. So that's what I have to say, man. All right, now we can go back and have exact amount of time to watch this and then watch the game. And of course, I have something for you at halftime and at the end of the game. Go Lakers. Let's beat the Rockets. BDL 44. Thank you all for watching.